11 years ago, when I was 19, I had my first experience. It had been just several months since my family and I had moved into this new home. My room was right next to my parents'. Around 3 a.m. I woke up. With a quick glance across my room, my heart instantly dropped, filled with fear and terror. I witnessed 7 to 8 black, slender, demon-like figures. Their movement was choppy and jolted as they came through the walls towards my bed. Without hesitation, I tried to get out of bed. I barely lifted my upper torso before I felt this incredible pressure gluing me to my bed. I tried screaming for my mom, but my voice was gone. I could say nothing. I began struggling with these demons who have now surrounded my bed. All I could do was move my head side to side, trying to keep my eyes closed, but couldn't help but to look at what was happening to me. Time was hard to calculate, but I think within 10 seconds of struggling, I heard a voice that calmed me. It was soothing, like a voice of an angel. It said, "Dan, pray to God. He is the only one who can help you." I prayed like I have never prayed before, like it was my last prayer, and I did it fast. Instantly, they were gone. I was able to get out of bed and went downstairs to the kitchen and sat down and pondered what the hell just had happened. Personally, I believe what happened to me was real. I don't believe doctors or science can explain it. People all over the world throughout many centuries have experienced with these black spirits known as the shadow people. Most people who have come across these demons say they are evil and filled with dread and terror. One time, I was in bed and it was about 3:20 a.m. I woke up, or at least I thought I did. I thought that I was hungry or just had to go to the bathroom, so I tried to get up, but I couldn't. Then I felt something on me. It was on my chest. I couldn't breathe for who knows how long, but it felt like forever. Just then, I realized that something was on my ceiling. It looked like a girl with dark hair and a white dress. And yeah, I know it sounds like your regular horror story, but no, this was way different. She was a grayish color. She was bleeding out of her eyes, and her teeth were falling on me. She was right above my face. I tried moving my arms to get out of bed, but nothing happened. I tried screaming for help, but the only thing that came out was a tiny screech. Just then, she jumped on my chest. I felt like I was being pulled up. I realized that my chest was actually elevating. I don't remember how it ended, but I do remember waking up in the morning on my floor. Imagine how scary this was for a 13-year-old girl, especially because this only happened to me about 3 months ago. I was in the process of getting the carpet in my apartment replaced. The wood was exposed. It's about 3 a.m., and I can hear the sounds of a very large dog dragging a large heavy chain across the wood. I look around my room, and my alarm clock says 3 a.m. or something like that. I try to ignore it and go back to sleep, but I can hear it getting closer. Everything in my body is telling me don't look at it. Finally, I can hear it hitting the floor in my room. Now, even with my eyes closed, I see a blinding red color. I feel my bed depress, then a large paw on my chest, and all the air leaves my chest as this creature digs its nails into me. I feel drool on my face, then its breath, the smell of something rotting and sickening. White hot pain on both my wrists. I want to scream, but no sound comes out as its paw is still on my chest. I fight to open my eyes and look everywhere but the creature. Something keeps telling me not to look at it. My wrists are chained to a rod, and I'm suspended above a flaming pit of nothingness. I can only see the shadow of what looks to be a large horned dog without a tail and a giant chain. The creature breathes on me and pushes harder into my chest. Then everything goes black. I wake up around 4 a.m. I lay up in bed, and my wrists are burning and my chest is still hurting, and I'm trying to catch my breath. With a violent urge to puke, I run to the bathroom and puke a dark liquid, red marks on my wrist, and scratches on my chest. It continues for weeks till I finally go get my home and myself blessed. I now sleep with a rosary on my wrist. I've had other things happen to me like that, but that was the worst one I can remember. This only happened to me once, but it was the most terrifying experience of my life. I was in my early 20s and had recently moved into my first apartment. It was a basement apartment with barred windows and a steel door entrance. I felt safe, at least until this night. I awoke in the middle of the night and could not move. The line of sight from my bed placed me in direct sight of the barred window. All I could hear was what I could only describe as a constant heartbeat. Everything in my vision was blurred out, almost wavy. I tried to force myself to move, but I couldn't. So I started taking long blinks to snap out whatever was wrong with me. I blinked once and still couldn't move. I blinked again and the same result. After the third blink or so is when I felt its evil presence. I knew it was around but couldn't see it. I wish I never did. The first glimpse I got was after yet another blink. It was looking down on me from my barred window. It had a demonic face with bright yellow eyes. Its skin was black and it had huge wings. It was just crouched in the window, looking at me and drooling with a huge smile full of pointy teeth. I panicked and blinked again and it was gone. I still couldn't move though, so I blinked as hard as I could. And then I felt it again. I looked, and this time its ugly drooling face was peeking up at me from the foot of my bed. With its clawed hands wrapped around my footboard. Now I shifted from panic to terror. I blinked again and it was gone. Unfortunately, yet after another blink, it was standing right next to me on the side of my bed. In the wavy part of my vision, it was much darker than the waves from before, and its silhouette was huge. I dared not to blink again, but it didn't matter. In one swift motion, it moved from the waviness and right on top of me. It was darker than anything I've ever saw before. It was muscular, and it had huge wings open and clawed hands and feet. After it showed me its size, it jumped on my chest and started choking me with its huge muscular arms. I could feel its claws digging into my neck. I couldn't breathe and was in shock. After what felt like an eternity, I was finally able to move my arms up and stop it from choking me out. Grabbing its arms and trying to push it away, within seconds of being able to move my arms, the waviness ended and the room brightened back up to normal. The paralysis had finally ended, and I snapped out of it, only to realize that my own arm was up and bent at an angle where I was choking myself, and my other hand was on my wrist, trying to pull my own arm off my throat. The memory is vivid to this day, and I wouldn't wish an experience like that on my worst enemy. I woke up in the middle of the night and went into my kitchen to get a cup of water. And when I looked up into my living room, there was like an old hooded person. I don't know how to really explain it, but I got freaked out and instantly knew what was happening. But it was so real that I kept doubting myself. So I paced back to my bedroom and went back to bed. But when I woke up, I was in your typical sleep paralysis episode. I was lying in bed and couldn't move, and there was this big black thing hovering right above me. It almost felt like when your arm falls asleep, except for it's your whole body. I kept forcing myself to go back to sleep, but whenever I woke up, the same thing happened. It was hovering right above me the whole time. I would fall back to sleep, only to wake up again. It wouldn't stop looking at me. Finally, I fell back to sleep for good and didn't wake up till the morning. I don't know exactly what it was, but it felt so real and it scared me to death. Luckily, I haven't had an experience like that since.